Hi daily update. SSN did the kind of share need the new book and some subscribe my son and be and then you know or the latest update the ben you know so because one can be and I will be who air course organ for I mean politics side and now sabeka all the updates now so I then what would you obey so already and go straight to a mediation so we at Domelevo arches on the former auditor general arches a akufado a sakeno with and then do is a can and tarsum or swan quagina home blah 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 just say ye nimni semni na in your secretary na right now about one thing a decent be brabber to judge say or kasa ye pa or no who say ye penny for no more no to no so per se Kobinya can you show my dream shady? You show my dream shady, or you can't see me bring a PC breaking it down. Tini can go to that first comment after that, you know, and some more for corruption or so on. I didn't TV.
Go around the world and you come across Ghanaians occupying very important positions, transforming things. I remember about 3 weeks ago, I was in Rwanda, and the gentleman behind there. Transformation in the aviation center is a Ghanaian. Wow. And he was like, oh my God, this thing, I had done it here, but I don't know if anybody will welcome me home. I'm like, oh my God. So it is so much. But many Ghanaians will argue that we have so much of resources, natural resources, but we are not developing. And I say, no, I don't think it's natural resources. The human resource is the most precious resources that any nation or organization can have. So it depends. If you have so much gold, so much diamond, and you are sitting on it and you are idiots, you will remain sitting on it.
I like that.
But you can also find a group of people who are even operating in deserts. There are a lot of countries. They have no resources, but they are harnessing the human resource that they have. So it's painful to see Ghanaians playing so many roles, important roles, outside the country, but back home nobody wants to see their faces.
Uncle, before we go to our main subject tonight, what do you think accounts for this?
One, the people in charge feel entitled to the positions that they have, and I also tell people that when you meet people who are very arrogant and they don't want you to come near them, it means they are empty. They don't know much. Any person who is very knowledgeable and competent engages. That's true. But when you meet someone who says, look, leave this territory, I'm the only one in charge, I can do it, and etc., you know, the guy doesn't know so much. So we have put a lot of square pegs in round holes. And the only way to feel like they are in charge or they are doing it is to keep everybody else away. Otherwise, it will surprise you to see very common sense things which happen all around the world, and we travel and go and enjoy this. You come back home and you are asking yourself, what is happening here? Like when I was coming from my house to here, right, I ran into several potholes and I said, which idiot is in charge of this sector? Can't we fix common potholes? Right. People have gone to the moon and back. You and I, we can speak to the whole world because of somebody's brain. That's right. Common potholes, we cannot fix them. That's right. So what are we good at? You go to, like you are talking about schools. So if you go to the education, it's not good. You go to our hospitals, not good. What are we good at as a people? But that said, at the same time, you realize that we have so many Ghanaians fixing systems all around the world. And when you come home, no, they don't want to see you. Ironically, we prefer an Indian, Chinese, etc. to come and take our resources and go. We don't want to bring a Ghanaian to solve the problem. I don't know what is in your DNA. That's right. We may have to go and review it and see what is inside our brains. There's something wrong, which I've said already. I think it is because people are not competent. We are in a situation where people are just protecting their territories. So when you come near, you may expose him. So because of that, they don't want you to come near, especially if you will not join them in the looting brigade. You know, they form looting brigade, and if you will not join in the looting, then you are not welcome. That's right. I think that is the problem. But many Ghanaians want a decent way of life. They don't want to dirty their fingers just because they are doing some public service. No. Yeah. So that is the problem. Bring a new solution to Ghana, be it technological wise or anything. You'll be frustrated to death.
That's true.
But you will find the Chinese running around getting everything sorted for them. You find the Indians. What kind of house is it that the children of the house find it difficult to enter rooms and strangers are playing in the bedroom?
It's so sad, and I think it's pathetic. My worry is that day in, day out, the youth are losing absolute confidence. But again, talking about leadership, I also believe that individuals or citizens get the kind of leaders that they want. So is it the problem of citizens not being able to decide who will be a right leader, or it is just that the leaders, I mean, we don't have leaders at all in this country?
Well, I believe that we have leaders, except that we have not been lucky with leadership. The last time I was speaking to a colleague of mine, I asked, how come we have 54 or 55 countries put together and we have only idiots leading us? We can't even say that we have about 10% of this who are doing the right thing. If you have 10%, that will be about 5 countries. Yes. Can you name 5 countries who you think are in Africa who are on top of the game? So I was asking, how come? So we have not been very lucky with leadership. But all is not lost. I seriously think that we may get there sooner than later, because what gladdens my heart is that most of the youth are not happy with the status quo. And when they start challenging the status quo, then we will get the right person to be in the seat. Because if people want this level and you can only deliver this level, clearly you are a square peg. You are not fit for purpose. Right. So you may have to give way. And sooner or later, I think we will get the leader that we require and we move.
I believe so. We will surely do that.
Yeah. So your friend is now or say portals, you will minister of your portals, school side, you will minister of your school side. All the sectors, and that's a problem you're facing in now, you will minister some of the down. Ghana foot your mocha every month be now so problems now on solve it, and that's all to no who say and nyan send ni mama because a banner send us uncle for your mocha Ghana foot your mocha now so mon your medjuma. So okay can in some way nyina kotie no afi no beka corruptions na kasankasa che say obe breaking them down ame hu de ekoso government no kame ho nkotie nsema ye Domelevo sa to aso e de kan ho mai.
Uncle, let's go straight to tonight's conversation. We are talking about public procurement system and corruption.
Yes.
The way forward. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, even if I am with you present. I have to keep quiet. And so, Uncle, tell us about this whole system.
All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity once more. Government of Ghana, like any other government in the world, collects revenue. It may be tax revenue or non-tax revenue. They borrow monies. They also receive donations from well-wishers on behalf of the people. And all these monies are supposed to go into the consolidated fund. And each year, these monies are appropriated. Appropriated means shared. Shared among the government departments to be used in prosecuting the agenda of the government. So these monies go into construction of roads, construction of dams, schools, factories, etc. for the people. So all these activities which we will normally find in the budget, which people talk about capital budget or non-recurrent budget, are basically procurement. They are done through procurement. You may also see there is another classification of expenditure in the budget which is called goods and services. It's also basically procurement. So procurement is very, very important. But however, no matter how important procurement is, it is also true that it provides a lot of avenue for people to do rent seeking. People trying to finance their personal economic recovery programs as part of delivering these services to us. And I must be quick to say that Corruption is multifaceted. Therefore, the fight against it must also be multifaceted. Well, you mentioned one point about public sector, which gladdened my heart. You talked about wastage. Corruption and wastage, they go hand in hand in the public sector. And I remember when I was working in the public service, many people know me as the former Auditor General, but many people don't know that I spent at the Controller and Accountant General's Department. So I've been in the public service for some time. At times, if you see the quantum of wastage that goes on in the public sector, you ask yourself, are people okay? Who in his normal course of doing things or senses will do what usually happen in the public sector? I'm sure you have seen government vehicles, just one tie, having a puncture, and then it is packed. And as a result of it, it's never used. In fact, at times, it is not because the vehicle is even defective, it's because my predecessor drove in that vehicle. So we will use it. I have to get a new vehicle. So if you see how procurement is done, many times in the country, you cry for the nation. And I would like to say that as far as I am concerned, when we are talking about value for money, we must look at it holistically. Procurement has got a lot of dimensions. Some look at it in terms of how much did we pay for this bottle of water. If the price is normal or below average, we think we've gotten value for money. But what is value for money if you bought this and just throw it away? Most of the procurement that we do, you see abandoned hospitals, is procurement, that is works. You see dams, or you may see schools that have been built. Did you say schools under trees?
Schools under trees.
Meanwhile, there are school buildings that are also not being used.
That's right.
Are we okay?
That's right.
Is something okay with us? That is the problem. So you bought this water half the price. We should clap for you, and you throw it away.
Yes, so
are you normal?
We can see some of the schools under trees.
Thank you.
In this modern era,
yeah,
this is what is happening.
It's shameful.
And what hurts me is that some of these students, not some, all these students are the same students who are going to write the same set of questions when it is time for them to write SSE or BEC. They are writing it the same set of questions with individuals who are in other international schools and all other. So how do you even set the platform?
There's no even playing field.
Exactly.
Some are so privileged that they go to school in four-wheel drive with a driver every morning, and they drop them. Even their lunch and etc. are prepaid. That's or right. Arranged. They select what they want to eat. They have their cutlery, etc. And others are, my colleagues, are in this type of situation. I can identify with them because I grew up in a farm place. Oh. And I was actually a teacher also in a farm place. And my school was not as good as this one. This is quite an improved version.
Really?
Yes. Mine was so bad. And many times we will be fighting with goats and sheep in the classroom. They also want space, and we will also want space. Yeah. So it's disheartening that in the midst of plenty, there is so much need. Yeah. It is a problem I think we may have to tackle as a country. Yeah. Now, if you meet me,
yes,
I will go through the legal framework and the practice briefly.
Very well.
I'm not going to go into it in details.
Yes.
Because we have to talk about the practice more.
That's right.
First and foremost, I look at the supreme law of the country, which is the Constitution. Under Article 35, Clause 8, it states that the state shall take steps to eradicate corrupt practices and abuse of power. And I think one of those steps is the Public Procurement Act, which is supposed to regulate procurement in the public sector. This act, which was first promulgated in 2003, had it amended or revised in 2016. And today, we also have a regulation to support it, which is the Public Procurement Regulation 2022, to also support it. We have the Public Procurement Authority and the board at the APES, and we have procurement entities, which are the ministries, departments, and agencies. There are also what they call the tender review committees for the MDAs, and for the MMDAs, we have the regional tender review committees. These are all structures which are in place for public procurement.
Mr. Domelevo, sorry to cut you in rudely, but let me also announce to our viewers and probably our listeners that you can engage through the WhatsApp line 0556 999999. It's on the screen, 0556 999999. Send in your messages, send in your comments, and it will.
So the next thing which affects you and me is what I refer to as the procurement methods. The procurement methods. The law provides for several procurement methods. You mentioned a very popular one, single source procurement, which is regulated by section 40 and 41 of the Act. We have the restricted tendering. We have request for quotation. This request for quotation, I used to joke when I was Auditor General, is that's the Trinity procurement method. Father, son, and the daughter, or this, they collect quotation from the three, and they claim these are independent sources of receiving quotes for the procurement. Then we have the competitive procurement, which may be national or it may be international competitive tendering. Now, let me address some of the challenges I personally had with these procurement methods. We have what they call the price quotation, which you just get a minimum of 3 or a maximum of 6 quotes from independent sources. When you check, usually, invariably, they are never independent. What Ghanaian businesses have done is that they register 2, 3, or 4 businesses, and they have the quotes or the pro forma invoices in the same place. So when the procurement officer comes, or whoever you send, they just fill 3 for the person. Fortunately, now the regulation has come out with some additional checks on the price quotation, which I hope maybe may address the issues a bit better. Then there is this national competitive tendering, where they may have to advertise it in the newspapers and let the whole country be aware of it.
Papa ne adia we dwaye pa e kase ye to aso ati ni nsem na ewa pa yi a chese nsem o ka fa ho nyina ne corruption a chese wo abai we ma ono no se ansa ne be yi no gisi serious, because the more corruptions ne ban the more na wastage is the wastage of resources no so ye den ekoso na all the poor anase ye ni bi no ye ni scared beto bi no ye mum ne ho chire na esro for no dey esan so mo ne waste kan intino omo feel the heat omo feel fi we in some Domelevo eden e dia betu ja utini some ko echi ani buafu ye pa o ke kan sem enfa so wanyine no ke kan sem o ke kan adwen afan busianfo edi mbesia sese wa on subscribe no ni di no bu kwan so subscribe so na bia so sabe ko so akabi na so so hu die ko so Ghana fa ne nyina ya Akroma.